The voice of Arizona has always shown through until one sore loser shows up and all of a sudden everything's wrong. Big lie.
Maricopa County's sham audit continues to plod along. The news gets worse. There's a report that says it has the potential to cost Arizona more than $9 million. A lot of that due to the shady group running it. Remember them? Cyber Ninjas, which isn't able to ensure that the machines haven't been infected with malicious software during the process. Also, the Republican-led Arizona Senate served a new subpoena to Maricopa County officials seeking, you guessed it, routers, among other items, over the, quote, audit, which could cost the state millions. As we said, over the weekend, the ex-president was in the state demanding over and over again those so-called routers. Joining us now, Adrian Fontes. He's a former Maricopa County recorder, one of several Arizona officials testifying on Capitol Hill today about the growing threat to our elections. He's also a Democratic candidate for Arizona Secretary of State. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. First, can you answer this question? Is there anything that the federal government can do to stop what feels like is this runaway train, this sham audit in Maricopa County?
Well, I have a feeling the Department of Justice could step in and do something if they were properly motivated to do so. I think Congress could open up some investigations, but the question is whether or not there's the political will, or if they want to waste their time with this nonsense. The whole thing is illegitimate. It doesn't have its foundation in anything real. No professional auditor of any type that I've ever spoken with, and I've spoken to a lot of them recently, have any faith that anything that's going on here is anything near an audit. So to call it an audit in the first place is not good. But at the end of the day, the federal government could do something. It was a federal election. There were federal offices on the ballot, but that's above my pay grade right now.
Well, I mean, we call it an audit, but you're right. Maybe it should be called something else. It is at the intersection of a current threat of domestic violent extremism. So do you worry that this sort of fact that it's still limping along at this intersection of the ex-president coming to your state and saying crazy things about routers? I mean, should someone shut it down, or should it be allowed to die a natural death?
Yeah, someone should shut it down. Senate President Karen Fann should shut it down. Senator Warren Peterson should shut it down. There's never been a full vote, by the way, in Arizona's Senate to make this happen or to approve this. I don't think they would win a vote right now. There are just a couple of people who are acting as agents of a wannabe authoritarian and embarrassing the heck out of my home state. Arizona's a great state. We have great elections. We've been running elections by mail, no excuse absentee voting for a long, long time. We've had very successful elections with 27 days of early voting. We were the first state to have an independent redistricting commission, online voter registration. Look, we've done it really well for a long, long time. And the voice of Arizona has always shown through until one sore loser shows up and all of a sudden everything's wrong. And that's just, it's just silly, and it has to stop.
What was the purpose of your testimony today? And what is your hope in terms of how Congress responds to what's happening in Arizona?
Well, very specifically, today's hearing was about the threats that have been suffered by local election officials across the United States of America. I've spoken with dozens and dozens of folks since leaving office in December all over the country. And we've heard stories. The Brennan Center did a great report on threats against election officials. This specific piece of legislation I was testifying on today, along with the city clerk from Detroit, we talked about the threats that we saw personally, the bad things that happened to some of our staff members. We personalized some of these stories because I don't think members of Congress take a lot of time to listen to local officials who do the work of elections, and at the end of the day, it is the tens of thousands of local officials who run our elections. It's not some random politician somewhere the mythsayers want everybody to believe. This is not a problem in the United States of America, and the accusers have no facts, and that's a real issue.
Can you give us a sense of the threats that you faced and your coworkers?
Well, one story I told was a really harrowing story where one of our staff members was essentially accosted, and that's a tough word, but brought out of the election center while there were some protests outside before we had put up the quadrant for, making sure folks had a place to protest, and almost held by a group of people, some of whom we suspected were armed, and we had reason to believe that. And this person had to basically be pulled away and rescued by law enforcement and some of our other staff members. That's just one incident that I discussed. There were several others, at least 24, if not more, that were referred to law enforcement for investigation, for possible criminal investigation and prosecution. It's getting bad out there. And this isn't some deteriorating third world country falling into authoritarianism. This is what America looks like after Donald Trump. And let's not forget, it wasn't like this that long ago. We never had these issues before people started believing this big lie. And that has to end. It has to end. Big lie. Big lie.